A very good evening to everyone present here. We will soon be commencing with our webinar. I request all attendants to stay online. We will soon be commencing with our webinar. Our host, Mr. Praveen Kumar, will soon be joining us for the webinar. For some of y'all who do not have an idea as to who Mr. Praveen Kumar is, he will soon be introducing himself when the webinar starts. Just a background check would be that Praveen Kumar has also ran with Milind Soman for many of the Pinkathons. He himself has ran more than 150 plus marathons across India. And not just marathons, but he has personally taken part in obstacle races such as the Devil Circuit and also the very famous Ironman Triathlon. He has also been a sponsored athlete by Bajaj Electricals for the Pinkathon hosted in 2019. But for much more introduction about who he is, he will soon be telling us more about that. I request all attendants streaming right now to stay online. We will soon be starting with the webinar. I now call Mr. Praveen Kumar to join us for this webinar.
Hi everyone. Thanks Bhagesh for the opportunity and thanks to our unfiltered team. Thanks a lot. So welcome all of you for the session on we will be talking about this food meditation, dynamic meditation and later on Ironman training. So the introduction part which Bhagesh has already shared with you. So I will just elaborate about little bit about it, right? So like I'm a marathoner. So marathon means something which a distance which is 42 kilometers, right? And then I'm an ultra marathoner. So that means like anything beyond 42K, that is ultra marathon. So I have done 100 milers, that is 161 kilometers of ultra distance run, right? And you will see the medals which are behind. So this is altogether, this number is over and above 150 medals. Okay. So I've finished, various kind of marathons, ultra marathons, and then Devil Circuit, which was mentioned by Bhagesh. And at the same time, I'm an Ironman triathlete as well. Okay. So these are the few things which I've done. So overall, like I have finished several podiums, like first position, second position, and all that. So this is how it about that. So this is just a brief introduction. Aside to it, like there are many things which we can discuss about. So athletics is just a part of the journey which I have been following since last 15 years, right? So aside to it, like this is a spiritual journey, this is a physical journey, this is a static meditation, dynamic meditation. So there are various aspects to it. Okay, so we will explore one by one. Okay, so going ahead with that, so in our this session, what we planned is like we will start the session with a pranayam. Okay, so aerobic workout. Pranayam, basically you may be aware, like we do in yoga, right? So this is a kind of basic aerobic workout which we will do, right? So in order to do that, what I will show you the steps and then you can follow that, right? And if any queries are there, you can address it, you can write it down in the chat box, right? So first of all, what we have to do is like we have to close our eyes. Okay, so every one of us, please close our eyes. Okay, and then keep yourself very relaxed, because whole of the day, like it is 4 p.m. now, and whole of the day you may be doing may have done n number of activities. So just relax now. Okay, for a couple of seconds, couple of minutes, right? So close your eyes and then take a long slow deep breathe in. When I say long slow deep breathe in, it should actually look like that. Okay, it should be long. Long means, and you have to take it very slowly. Okay, so for example, and deep like ocean, right? And then you have to hold it inside, let it work inside, let it get digested, let this breathing get digested inside, and then you let it go. Okay, so one more time we will do it. Okay, hold it, let it go. Aside to it, the next exercise will be what is called as bhastrika pranayam. So I will tell you the steps. Okay, so the steps are like you have to close your fist like this and keep it side it's beside your body, right? Like this. Okay, so elbow touching your body side, right? And then while lifting up, you have to take a deep breath in, right? You got this step. Now we will do it and I will give you the counting. Like first, if we complete one set, that it is called one, right? So for example, one, right? So this is how we will do it, right? So let's go ahead, close your eyes, close your fist, and then with the with the breathe in, we have to lift our hands up. One, two, three, 4, 20 times. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So Bhagesh, how is the Josh now after doing this workout? How's the feel? Just a quick question with the audience.
Great. So I tried it myself just now.
Yeah,
Feels
yeah,
good. You feel the
yeah,
pressure inside.
yeah,
And so, as we can see in the comments, people are
yeah.
eager to know about what exactly you'll be speaking on in this introductory webinar. And what
Okay.
exactly do you mean by food, mind, and soul? What
Right.
exactly?
Yeah, so we will get into that one by one. So before that, like what we are doing here now is, because see, this is a life science. Okay, so whatever we are taking inside, right, we have to let it go. This is a yoga principle, right? We know it, right? So similarly, like whatever you had done throughout the day, okay, you have to forget everything now, and you have to be there in this moment. And we will be talking very interesting part on food meditation. Then we will be talking about dynamic meditation, and we will be talking about Ironman training, right? So this is the idea. Okay, so many of you have said that like Josh is high, right? And Ria Pinto is writing Josh is
Exactly.
high. Archit Agrawal is going writing Josh is high. Wonderful, Andrea. So obviously, how does this Josh comes inside, right? So that is the point which we need to understand actually. So what happens whenever oxygen goes inside? It actually modulates entire system, our entire system. Okay, and it keeps you it keeps you energized. It makes you
Correct.
energized. Okay, highly energized. So that's the reason aerobic workouts are very much required, and running is a kind of aerobic workout. Okay,
Exactly, sir.
so
So
let
if you don't mind
me
me asking,
yeah.
could you tell the audience what contents you'll be covering in today's webinar, the three
Yeah.
section which we spoke about earlier?
Yeah, I will go into the details. So first of all, we
Great.
will be talking about initially. See, I have categorized this session into three parts, right? So starting with the food meditation, right? So basically, all of us, are this is a common thing. Okay, this is a common type. So first of all, I will be talking about the food meditation. Food meditation means what? Like I will be talking about like how what is food and what is diet. Okay, and how we should what is the difference between these two. Okay, so and what are the ideas, what are the what how we should actually look into it, like how we should look into the food intake. Okay, so this is how it is. And then later on I will be talking about running. Okay, so that is called dynamic meditation. Okay, so for example, we have seen that right now, like we have done a simple kind of workout, and we have seen that the impact of that workout is we have understood. So similarly, we will be taking care of that part in our running dynamic meditation, right? And then because I'm an Ironman triathlete, so I will be talking about this training part of Ironman, right? So let's start with the food meditation first. So first of all, what we need to understand, like what is food, right? Some of you can write your comments here, like what do you mean by food? So let's go ahead and understand this. What is real and what is a look alike food? For example, food is something which should keep you energized, right? So like sometimes what we think, like in when you go to a jungle, then you will figure out that animals which are there, so they are having a number of things. Okay, and that is meant for themselves, right? And this is how they keep themselves energized to to work and act different kind of activities, take part in different kind of activities. But do you think that this is same thing is applicable for human beings also? So this is a basic question. So to understand that, what we need to understand is, like what is actually a food and what is a look alike food. Okay, so for example, like whatever is coming through nature, so that is a food basically. And whatever is not coming through nature directly, so that is a look alike food, or we may call it a junk food, right? So this is the difference. Okay, so like you may have seen that for animals there is no diet plan as such, but for human beings there is a something called diet plan, right? So what is a real food and unreal food? Like anything, like if you pluck it from tree, so that is a real food. Okay, if anything you pluck from tree and if you get it directly through nature, so that is a real food. Okay, and if you process it, like the moment you touch it, the moment you store it, and the moment you process it in machine, so it becomes like a unreal food. So this is a basic idea, right? So this is how we understand that what is. So accordingly, if something is processed, so you can understand, like the amount of energy which it should give, it won't give, because it is already processed. Like when we eat something and when we excrete something, so excrete part we cannot use, right? So similarly, food which is real, that is only what we can use. Okay, otherwise whatever is processed, we cannot use. We cannot use, right? So this is how it is. So basically, over a period of time, we have forgotten like what is the difference between real and unreal food. Okay. So and aside to it, like due to this problem, what is happening, like we have got n number of complications in our body, right? So sometimes you may feel like feel like a need of coffee in order to keep yourself energized, coffee or tea or something like that. Okay, so how does it happen like that? So that is what we need to understand. So basically we should have an understanding on food and diet. Okay, so what is food and what is diet, whether we should follow a food plan or whether we should follow a diet plan. Okay, so food is as I discussed just now, is food is something which is directly coming through nature, right? And everybody is having a food plan, and diet plan is something which is actually kind of curated plan in order to get rid of something which is wrong in our body. Okay, so basically, what we should look for is ideally a food plan, right? So we need to understand how to work out on our food plan. For example, like usual perception is like whenever we have milk, right? Then we think that it is good for our health, and we may be eating several kind of fruits. Okay, and we think that it is good for our health, but basically we need to understand whether that food item is working for you or not. Correct. So how to identify, like you may have seen, like there are examples wherein mothers are giving milk to kids, right? And if the kid is not able to digest that, so it is not giving the kind of energy which is required for the kid, right? So like if it is not giving energy, so it can have a wrong impact on the body, right? Body of a kid. So basically we need to figure out like how to figure out we need to understand how to work out on our food plan, right? So how to work out on our unique food plan. So you may have seen that that this is something called lactic intolerance, lactogen intolerance. Okay, so if you are giving a milk to kids, so what will happen, they won't be able to digest it because they are not able to tolerate that milk content, lactogen, which is inbuilt in the milk, right? So so this is a problem. So this is an identified problem with kids, but similar thing may happen with others also, adults and other people also, right? So how to identify whether we can tolerate something, and we are not able to tolerate something, right? So this distinction must be there, right? So in order to identify, we have to do something which is called food meditation. So like when we do meditation, so what happens, like we stop everything, right? We stop all our thought process, and something beautiful comes from inside. So similarly we have to do a food meditation kind of thing. Okay, wherein like we have to stop all the kind of intakes of this carbohydrates we have to stop. I'm just giving you an idea, like how uh, how we can actually work on our own unique food plan. Okay, because everybody cannot tolerate all the kind of food, right? So Vilender is asking, sir, but all the nutrients cannot be received through simple food, right? Yeah, Vilender, you're right, but let's discuss it later on. So if you do this carbohydrate intolerance test, then you will understand, like, nutrients which you are talking about in general. Like, I have been running, I am taking part in a cause that is called 20 by 20 by 20. That is, I'm running 20 days every day for 20 kilometers. Okay, and there are 20 people, right, running together. So every day I'm running more than 20 kilometers. This is the plan. Okay, and I'm supporting a cause that is called Move to Feed, right? So, but the thing is that before running, I'm not supposed to, I'm not taking any kind of food items. So where the energy comes from? So basically it is fat which is burning all the time. Okay, so what is required is, the fat should be there, which should burn. Okay, so how to make that fat burn and, provide energy? So that is the idea. Okay, so how to, work on that? That can be done through carbohydrate intolerance test, right? Can people overcome lactose intolerance through gradually increasing intake of milk? No. Obviously, Abhishek, what you are saying, that is a good question, basically. So, because our body is not able to tolerate few things. Okay, so we have to understand and we need to identify. This identification comes through a test that is called carbohydrate intolerance test. Okay, so once you do that test and you figure out the findings of the taste, then you will understand that what are the food which is uniquely made for our body. Okay, so there is a protocol for doing the taste. Okay, so that we can discuss separately in a separate, session, because that's a big part, big picture. Okay, so that is a 14 days. I will just give you a brief about that taste. So wherein you have to do it on your own, and you have to remove all the carbs for 14 days. Okay, so you have to rely mostly on nuts, seeds, and all that. So this is how it is. So when you do that, so what will happen? Your fat will start burning to provide you energy. Okay, and then you won't be able to relying on carb sources, okay, for the fat burning. Because see, why fat burning is required? Because we know that there are two sources of energy, that is carbs and fat, right? And carbs is very limited. Okay, so carbs is very limited and fat is unlimited in our body. Okay, so once we are focused only on carbs, so what will happen? Our fat will remain as it is. Okay, so this is the problem. What will happen? Like, we won't be able to burn fat. So how to, develop a fat burning engine? That is a interesting part to understand. Okay, so ideally, if the fat, you are able to burn more fat, so what will happen? You can, because in general, what happens, like, for even a thinnest person, the fat is available for energy for even walking 100 miles. Okay, that is 161 kilometers of distance. But carbs cannot run for that long, right? So carbs cannot provide you energy for that period of time. Okay, so that is the reason, like, we are supposed to burn more of the fat and less of the carbs. So how to engage that? Okay, so because, see, over a period of time, our body has become, fat carb addicted. Okay, so due to this carb addiction, how does it this addiction happens? So because when you have seen, you may have seen, like, when you smoke one cigarette, so you may feel the urge to have a second cigarette, right? So similarly, when you take one cup of tea and add some sugar, so next time you are adding extra sugar. Okay, so in order to, in order to feel good about this, because sugar is giving you quick energy. Okay, and then that's the reason you feel good about it, right? So the thing is that this way, what is happening, like, you become addicted to sugar. Okay, and until and unless you add some sugar, you won't feel good about it, right? So this is how we become addicted to sugar addiction is like any kind of addiction, right? It is as harmful as a cigarette kind of, or any addiction, right, in life. So basically, we should be fat addicted. Fat addicted means we should be able to burn more fat, and the fat should be able to provide us more energy. So this is the idea. So this is the ideal idea, because ideal condition, because if the fat is able we are able to burn more fat, then we are able to sustain for a very longer period of time, okay, without having anything, right? So this is the idea, so that we will discuss in the separate session. So that will be communicated to you all, because we have got very limited time and we have to cover other aspects as well, right? So also we need to understand, like, what is the importance of good food for good health, because ideally what food should do is food should keep you energized, okay, and food should actually give you energy for a longer period of time, right, to do a number of things, okay. So this is how it is. So these things we will cover up. Okay, so quick question answer sections here, please. All the nutrients cannot be received through simple food. So but all the nutrients cannot be received through simple food, right? So this is a good question. So see, the thing is that see, even if you take n number of nutrients in your system and your system is unable to utilize that, so that nutrient may not be able to work for you, right? So if you are unable to digest it, like for example, if you are taking this breathe, right, and your body is not able to digest it properly, so what will happen? It will just go out, you will just exhale without utilizing it, right? So it has to be utilized. Similarly, the nutrient which you are taking inside, so that has to be digested well, okay, and then only it will be utilized in your body. So rather than taking more of the nutrients, you take little amount of that nutrient which is available naturally in natural food intakes, right? So you should have that understanding that if we are able to digest that, the little amount of nutrient which is available through nature, then you will be you won't require much of the nutrients as well, right? So this is as per my experience, because I have been running since long, and I do not require any kind of nutrients, like whatever is nature is giving, like nuts, seeds, and this fruits, and whatever is nature is giving, I'm relying on that. Next one. Which kind of food gives you us energy? So that is a very interesting question, Sadhna. So because see, what we need to understand, like, this is also related to the previous question, because the food which we are able to digest, okay, so that is the only food which is giving us energy. So in order to digest, we should tolerate it, or tolerate means carbohydrate. When we talked about the carbohydrate intolerance taste, so we need to identify which all foods are we are not able to tolerate. So if we are not able to tolerate, we have to remove that, or we have to minimize those intakes, right? And the food items which we are able to digest or tolerate, so that we should maximize in our intake, right? And this is how we will remain energized whole of the day to do any kind of activities, right, Sadhna? So how to get over sugar addiction? Yeah. So sugar addiction, yeah, see, we have got a carbs or sugar list life, okay. Sugar list means it is always already attached to our system, okay. So whenever you name anything, so you whole of the day you are taking n number of things with carbs only, okay. Rice, maybe let it be rice, let it be wheat, let it be pulses, and n number of things. So what is happening? The amount of carbs which you are taking, okay, every time, so that is getting added, okay, added, and it is converted into fat, okay. So in order to get over and get de-addicted of this this sugar less life, so what you have to do is you have to do a carbohydrate intolerance test, so that we will discuss in the next session onwards, right? So once you do that, so what will happen, like, you if you remove all the carbs, then you will understand like what is the importance of fat, and how the fat will burn more to provide you energy when but in general what is happening, like you are burning more of the carbs only. Okay, so carbs you are adding, and that is burning, so fat is as it is in your system. So this is how it works. Okay, so you remain addicted to sugar. Okay, you focus on sugar all the time, so you cannot. So in order to this is a good interesting question, because you talked about sugar addiction. It is a much stronger addiction, even if you compare it with cigarette. Like one time you can give up cigarette. Okay, so if you are determined, you can give up cigarette, but you cannot get over of this sugar addiction. Okay, until and unless you do some kind of test that we call it as carbohydrate intolerance test, wherein we remove all the carbs and then we rely on our body fat to provide us energy. Okay, so this is when we do that, then we feel that we are in a different world. Okay, and our body is energized in the absence of carbs also. Okay, yeah, next one. Yeah, any other questions, Bhagesh? You're not audible, Bhagesh. You're muted.
Hello.
Yeah,
Great. Can you hear
Bhagesh.
me now, sir?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. So we'll surely get more questions along the line, sir. But for now, I feel we should move on to the next part of the webinar,
yeah,
and we'll
yeah,
definitely have an intense Q&A session after the entire webinar is over, so we can
yeah.
adjourn
Great.
and answer
So
all the
very,
questions.
I think there are a few nice questions which I would like to actually discuss and talk about. But let's take it post the session, right?
Definitely,
So
definitely, sir.
Poonam is asking how to lose belly fat. So quickly, I am answering you, answering for it. Like if you are able to burn more of the fat, which we will discuss later. So that is how you will burn belly fat, right? So this is one question, and then someone was asking, just a minute. To lift heavy and keep the energy level high, good carbs like banana is required in your pre-workout, right? Willender is asking, right? So Willender, it
Correct.
is a good question, but yeah, this is actually this is just a conception. Okay, because I have been lifting on my own. I am lifting body, this thing, weights, right? But that is not required. That is just a conception. Even I had that kind of concept initially when I started running 10 to 15 years back. Okay, but once your body is moving towards fat burning, so you are not supposed to focus on carbs like banana and all that. That is required indeed, but that is not so much required as you claim it, right? So I think these are
Definitely,
the
sir.
two questions which had seen, and later on we will take it
Great.
up.
Great. I would
Yeah.
like to take this opportunity to tell the audience that we will be discussing a detailed version of the entire section about food meditation and how to
Yeah.
actually go about carbohydrate intolerance test. And Mr.
Yeah.
Praveen Kumar will definitely be personally
Yeah.
guiding
Because
us in this journey on the 18th of July, where we'll be
yeah.
conducting a special webinar exclusively covering this whole topic.
Yeah, because see, this is a very extensive kind of session, so that we may not be able to cover in 1 hour, 1 hour, because that takes a lot of hell lot of time, right? So we will be covering it on 18th of July, right? Right.
Yes, sir, definitely. On
So
18th.
going forward with the next topic, that is dynamic meditation. Okay. So dynamic meditation. So when we started the session, we have done two exercises, right? First is first we did a normal breathing workout, and then we did one Bhastrika pranayam, right? So basically, what happened? We felt energized, right? So how did it happen, right? Because see, in our body system completely works on breathing only, right? So how to engage the breathing, okay, and how to get most out of it. So that is the important aspect. Okay. So dynamic, when we talk about the dynamic meditation are of two types actually, as per me. So dynamic meditation is nothing but actually, a running condition wherein, you reach in a state wherein you lose the sense of your body. Okay. So that is how you can run n number of kilometers. Okay. So when you're breathing, your energy system, your form, your weather conditions, your n number of other factors are totally synced. Okay, completely synced. Okay, and you lose a sense of your body, and your body is in under movement. Okay, so that is called dynamic condition, dynamic meditation, right? So you get into that and then you lose the sense of your body. Okay, so this is what happens during any spiritual discourses as well, right? So you may have seen that there are osho sessions which were happening earlier, so wherein audiences were asked to do a number of physical activities. Okay, and then they were asked to shout and do a number of things which actually keep them highly modulated, or the energy level were risen up, right? So this is usually what happens scientifically is like your hr is going up. Okay, you're breathing. Yeah, you start breathing deeply and you engage your complete body, okay, in the process. Okay, so that's the reason, like at a point of time all these things get synced. Okay, and if it is get synced, then you lose a sense of your body, right? So this is what happens during a party also, party after booze, right? So this is what youngsters sometimes do, right? In the parties, when you booze and you dance a lot and you do a number of things, so what happens, you lose a sense of your body, right? So that is a dynamic meditation. So same thing happens with running also. So once you learn how to run properly, and then you engage all your breathing, your body muscles, your form, your energy system, your weather conditions, and sync everything together, then what will happen, you will enter into a dynamic meditation condition. So that is the reason, like running becomes a cakewalk. Okay, so I'm running every day 20 kilometers. That means what? It is not a physical kind of activity, it is just an attempt to enter into dynamic meditation, right? So this is how it works. Okay, so dynamic so why it is uh, we need to understand the process and science of dynamic meditation. So first, like as I mentioned, like in order to get into that, what you have to do, you have to start like the process. It is similar to process of running. Okay, so you have to start slowly and gradually. Okay, so you have to start slowly, that is called warm up for running. Then you have to maintain a pace. Okay, and then you have to gradually cool down. Okay, so this is how you have to make a plateau kind of attempt every day during running. Okay, so this is how, if you develop this over a period of time, so you will enter into dynamic meditation. So once you get into the dynamic meditation, so what will happen, because the body is tired. Okay, and the body is tired, then what will happen, your body will demand kind of rest. Okay, so rest means what? Rest means once you enter into rest, so what will happen, you can easily enter into static meditation. You can just lie down and you do savasana, and you can enter into static meditation. So how does it work? Like basically what happens when you run, when you start running, so your hr is going up, heart rate is going up. Okay, and your body is actually, your breathing is also elevated. Okay, and then when the breathing is elevated, hr is elevated, and your form is correct, and the weather condition is good, or maybe if you are able to take care of that, your body systems, so your body will enter into a dynamic meditation. Okay, so once you get into that, so later on if you want to enter into a static kind of meditation, it becomes very easy path, because your body is tired physically, right? So body needs rest, right? So your sleep quality will get improved. Okay, so this is how it will happen, and then you will easily enter into resting condition and static meditation, right? So this is the difference between dynamic meditation and static meditation, right? So basically, so now the question is how dynamic meditation will help us in general. So like you may be aware, like when we do an exercise or particularly an aerobic workout, it helps us, to strengthen our immunity, right? So because our system works in that manner, so the feel good hormone are released. Okay, so dopamine and serotonin and other hormones are released. Okay, so what will happen, you will feel good, and at the same time, if you are feeling good, the body will secrete a number of hormones which will enhance your immunity, right? And if the immunity is enhanced, then automatically, like, you will be, better in a better condition to fight a number of viruses which are all already around. Okay, so even when I'm sitting here, so there are a number of viruses are around me, right? So we are inhaling it, but it is not going to affect me, because why, because already the immunity is strong, right? So that is not going to affect us. So similarly, like, it is very relevant during this COVID-19 scenario, so wherein, like, so like this is spreading like wildfire, right? But mostly you may have seen that this is affecting mostly, the people who are, below 66 years age and more than over and above 40 years age, right? So why it is affecting them 50 years age, right? Sorry. And mostly if the people are obese, or maybe if they are diabetic, or maybe if they are heart patient. So why it is affecting them, because their immunity level is down, because their body is not so held, because in the case of the kids, like who are below 5 years old, their immunity is already not developed. Okay, and for the elders, like beyond 50 years age, so in their case, like what happens, like due to a number of things, like, obesity, and then diabetic conditions, then heart disease, and other things, their immunity is already compromised. So you may have seen that the cases where, people succumb to death. So those were the cases wherein people were, already obese. Okay, or maybe they were not fit and healthy, right? So that's the reason they have died, right? So this is how, if you are able to work on this immunity building program, that is dynamic meditation, static meditation, running, whatever we call it, so it will help you to fight this COVID-19 scenario much easily. So this is how it is. Yeah. Any questions here? Yeah, Bhagesh, you are again muted.
My bad. Okay, there are a lot of questions in the comment section. So there is a specific question
Yeah,
by Vidhu Jain, where she's
yeah,
asked about if you're hungry, then what exactly should
yeah.
be done?
Yeah, so nice question. भूख बहुत लगती है. Then what to do, right? So even it was the case with me also. Okay, so this is a sign that carbs are not working properly for you. Okay, so whatever the food intake you are having right now, so that is not working. So I will tell you a story of mine, just to keep it a little bit longer. It may become. So but the thing is that once, I was at my native, and I was not eating in night time, right? Dinner I was not having usually. Okay, so my mom used to ask me, like, kuch kha lo, right? सो सी यूज्ड टू आस्क मी वेरी ऑफन कि कुछ खा लो, तो एक बार मैंने बोला कि अच्छा ठीक है, ऐसा इफ यू आर आस्किंग मी टू हैव समथिंग देन चलो खिलाओ। देन सी मेड रोटीज। सो जितने भी घर में जितना भी आटा था सारे का रोटी में खा गया। मतलब पूरे घर के लिए जितना आटे का रोटी बना था वो सारा मैं खा गया। ओके, so it was a challenge kind of, okay, so I accepted that challenge and जो मुझे खाना नहीं चाहिए था उसके उसको भी मतलब जो खा गया सारा कुछ। So I was actually in the same condition, okay, so I was having hunger pangs very often.
Correct.
So
Correct.
why does it happen? Because your food system is not synchronized and it is not working properly. Okay, that is why it is asking you to take carbs. It is not hunger, it is basically you are taking carbs, you are addicted. Okay, so when we talked about the sugar addiction, so this hunger is a sign of sugar addiction only, right? So this is a carb addiction, like the way you feel a urge to have tea and coffee. It is similar kind of thing. Okay, so it is not a hunger, it is a sign that you are not able to tolerate something. Okay, so once
Correct.
you do this carbohydrate intolerance test, then you will get over it. Okay, this condition. Hope I
Great.
answered it. So
Great.
how to enhance the immunity, right? Disha, it is a nice question which I explained just now. So in order to enhance immunity, you have to engage yourself into aerobic workout, right? For example, in this current COVID scenario, so there are limited opportunities to do workout. But in the next session onwards, we can discuss about it, because we can think about, like, there are this cases wherein people have started climbing stairs, right? And at the same time you can skip ropes, right? So but skipping rope and climbing stairs is one aspect, right? But you have to do it correctly, so that has those workout has to be curated, okay, and to give you maximum benefit, and to make your immunity strong. Okay, so this is one aspect, that is exercise. Other than that, if you
Correct.
simply engaging in nasal breathing, so that will also enhance your immunity. So whole of the day, if you start focus on your breathing system, okay, so you have to breathe like this only, right? So these are the few things which I can talk about. uh,
True.
yeah, right.
So there are a lot of questions, in fact, and they're just pouring in. But I would like to ask the audience to wait for the Q&A session at the
Disha is
end of the
asking it,
webinar.
right,
Okay,
right.
we'll clear that out. We'll clear that out.
But Disha is asking again a common question. For lose weight, should we skip one time meal? Is it helpful? Disha, it is a common question. Okay, so to lose weight, what is important is there are concepts which are there, like calorie in and calorie out. So for example, people think that the amount of calorie which we are intaking, and if we reduce it, then we will lose weight. Okay, so this is calorie in and calorie out concept, what we call. But that actually does not work all the time. Okay, so that is taken care of in carbohydrate intolerance test. Okay, so wherein you will lose your weight drastically, like a number of, like, I have lost around 8 kgs. Okay, but that is not the idea behind that taste. The idea behind that taste is to engage your fat burning. Okay, so if your body is able to burn more fat, then you will automatically lose weight. Okay, so skipping meal is not an option, because the moment you will pick up the meal, next meal, so body will adapt to that, right, and add more of the calories out of it. Okay, so we will discuss about it, this concepts in the future sessions,
Absolutely.
that is on 18th, 19th, and 26th of July, right?
Correct, sir.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, again, for the audience, we will be having specific days for these webinars, and whatever Mr. Praveen Kumar is speaking right now, we will be covering all of it in much more detail on these 3 days. Those are tri-series webinar on 18, 19, and 26. For more details, do stick with us post webinar. So, I would like to initiate us engaging in the next section, which is kind of a very intriguing part, which is known as Ironman training. It's something which the audience has never heard of. So, how would you go about this?
Yeah, thanks, Bhagesh. So it is very interesting part because Ironman triathlon is a now it is gaining exposure in India, right? And basically, let's discuss what it is. Okay, so Ironman is a triathlon. Okay, so wherein we have to do 3.9 kilometer of sea swimming, right? And then we have 180 kilometer of cycling, and then we have a full marathon, that is 42 kilometers of running. Okay, so everything need to be done in a stipulated time period, right? So once you finish this in a stipulated time period, so then you are known as a you are known as a Ironman. So this is how it is. So this is a basic introduction. So initially you may feel like, this is a big distance. Okay, so this is called actually a 140.6 140.6 Ironman. Okay, because this distance is equal to 140.6 miles. Okay, so basically, initially we think that it is a very challenging kind of training. Okay, but obviously, like when we run a marathon, so what we think usually is like taking one step at a time, right? So similarly for Ironman training also, we have to take one step at a time, and then we have to merge it in our lifestyle. Okay, and then once you merge it in your lifestyle, then it becomes very easy, okay, to do. Okay, so this is how it is. So I will just share my experience and my journey for this Ironman training. So I was runner, okay, since last 15 years. Okay, so I had been running since last 15 years. So running was not an issue, so I could easily I was able to easily manage that part of Ironman event. So now there were two questions, like there were two major challenges. First was cycling, and second one was swimming. Okay, so for swimming, what I did, like I started going to my office on cycle. Okay, so that was one side. The distance was around 30 kilometers, and if I return, then it was 60 kilometers. So 60 kilometer of travel on cycle to office. Okay, so this is how I worked on my cycling. Okay, so I was not having extra time to do training for cycling and as such, right? So this is how I tried to train for cycling part, right? And then I just focused on swimming because I was very bad swimmer. So I started learning swimming. Okay, and this is how this Ironman journey it happened. Okay, so the most important thing is that when I in order to do the trials, when I participated in Aurangabad, the Ironman, sorry, triathlon event, so that is called Olympic level triathlon. So the my two parts were actually good. Okay, swimming, this thing, running and cycling part were good. Okay, so I was strong in those two parts, so only swimming I had to manage. And so one good news was that I finished the first position in that event, in the first this first trial only. Okay, so this is the trophy which I received. I will just show it to you. So this was my first Ironman this uh, triathlon trophy. Okay, so this was for Olympic level. Olympic means it is only small distance, not a complete distance like Ironman. Okay, so I finished a Goa Ironman. So this was the first Ironman which happened in India. Okay, so I finished in Goa Ironman. So basically, whenever you are trying to train for Ironman, so usually what you have to do, you have to focus on all these three areas, but you do not get stressed out about it. Okay, and you have to include it in your lifestyle, right? So, for example, if you travel anywhere, so this is just a glimpse I'm giving it to you, but later on we will discuss in the next sessions onwards. So whenever you are traveling anywhere, so rather than going on a bike, you can choose, you can opt for a bicycle, right? Cycle, you opt for a cycle, and this is how you get trained for cycling part, right? So similarly, like running is a basic thing. Okay, so you have to run every day in order to, make your system perfectly fine for all these other activities. Because, and why Ironman is important, because see, this is a kind of cross training for all the activities. Like for example, if you're running, so a particular kind of muscles are engaged. Okay, but when you move into cycling, or different set of muscles are engaged. Okay, and when you move into swimming, so again a different set of muscle is engaged. So what will happen, your all the muscle groups are engaged. Okay, and your complete body is exercised properly. So at the end of the game, like what will happen when you finish that Ironman triathlon, so you will feel that usually you are not so much tired like when you finish a ultra distance running. Okay, because in ultra distance running you are constantly using the same set of muscles. So this is the beauty of this Ironman triathlon. Okay, so because of the cross training, you are not tired. Okay, so this is how it is. So I'll you may have seen the medals which are there. Okay, so there are various kind of medals. So one event, I will just share it with you, that is comrades marathon. Okay, so that I have finished last year. That was a 89 kilometers marathon, which happens in ultra marathon, ultra run, what we call, in South Africa, from city to city. This is a city to city run. Okay, so from Durban to Peter Marisburg, we have to run, and we have to cross 5 hills. Okay, so this is not a simple kind of flat route. So we have to cross the hills, and then yeah, we have to reach to the next location. And once you, and there are several kind of this thing, like barricades are there. Okay, timelines are there. Okay, so for example, 40 kilometers you have to reach in a particular timeline, right? And if you are unable to reach, then the gate will be closed and you will be out of the game, right? So this is one thing. And then I did 161 kilometers Oxford golf course run. So that was the ultra marathon. So similarly, this all this medals which are there in the background, every medal has got a story. Okay, but the story, see, the most interesting part is that I have not done anything about that. Okay, so I have just taken one step, and the same thing you can also do for yourself, right? So you have to just take one step, and one step every day and continuous. So you too can become an Iron Man, believe it. Okay, so you have to just believe it first, and then you will be an Iron Man. Because see, what you are doing, you are taking consistent effort. Okay, every day. And only you have to, what you have to monitor is that in the one step which you are taking currently, that has to be perfectly synced with your breathing, with your energy, with the weather conditions around. So if you are able to do that, then this next step will become easier, right? This is how it is. So Bhagesh, anything left out?
There's nothing left out, sir, but we have a ton of questions
Yeah,
which we haven't
yeah,
answered.
yeah,
Hello? Yes.
yeah, yeah,
So I feel after covering all three of our topics, which will be covered in much more detailed in on the
yeah,
18, 19, and 26, like we have planned,
yeah,
I would like you to cover these small questions which are in our comment section,
yeah, right. So
such as
that will be much more interesting. Yeah, right.
correct, correct. There's a question by Nishta Batra. Uh, yes, here it is.
Yeah, it is oftenly said that we should not eat dinner for losing weight. Is it true? So I can tell you, like, it can be yes and no, both ways. Okay, I have the diplomatic answer for this. Okay, so this will depend. Like if you have eaten lunch, so it will depend on that also. So ideally, see, in our Indian culture, what is prescribed, like you should have dinner before sunset. Okay, So there is a concept that is very famous nowadays, that is called intermittent fasting. Okay, so wherein if you have consumed your dinner before sunset, and next day obviously the breakfast will be post sunrise. So what is the duration between this period is like around 12 hours. So 12 hours is a normal, Indian culture में हमारा एक intermittent fasting हो जाती थी, right? So nowadays we are not following that, right? So dinner, actually dinner has nothing to do with that, but only thing is that what you need to focus is what does your dinner contain. Okay, so this is the idea. So if your dinner is full of carbs, so then obviously it will add weight in your system, right? So but if your the quality of dinner is changed, or it is a bit improved, then it may not add weight to your system or body, you can say. This is how it is.
Oh, so correct. It all depends on your previous meal plans. In
Yeah,
short.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go on to the next question here, which is quite relevant to the current scenario by Gurura, Gururani. Aditya Gururani. I'll just read out the question till it comes on the screen. While running, we should use mask or not, as it is a new concept that virus is spreading through air too.
Why while running we should use mask or not, as it is a new concept that virus is spreading through air too. Okay, wonderful questions. But see, the thing is that see, this we will cover up in our next discussion on dynamic meditation, that is happening I think on 19 July, right?
On the 19th. On the 19th.
19 July. So see, I will just give you a glimpse on idea about it. Okay, so see, it is not like virus is actually raining from somewhere around us. Okay, it is not like it is raining everywhere. Okay, so whenever we are running isolated, okay, so it won't harm us actually. So isolated means there should not be any human being around you at least for 2 kilometers. So obviously you are safe, right? So this is the idea. So where you need to figure out which is that kind of place first, and then obviously see, our nose is meant for breathing, right? So nose is actually not only helping you to breathe, but also the air which is going inside the nose is processed in a much better manner, right? And then if it is processed in a much better manner, then it will help us to strengthen your immunity as well. Okay, so basically what we should focus on, to engage more of this nasal breathing. Okay, so when you use the mask, so this is also this mask can also be used for to strengthen your immunity. So what you have to do is that ideally you should close this area. I'm not giving a exact means prescription kind of, but this is an idea. Like if you close this thing and if you breathe just through nose while running, so it will help you for running also. At the same time it will help you to strengthen your immunity. Okay, so it will work both ways. And in order to not get infected, obviously you have to run isolated. Okay, so you must follow the protocol which is prescribed, correct? But at the same time you are responsible for yourself, for your health, right? So ideally you should work out, you should not do stop workout. So you should do workout, but you should remain safe. Okay, so this is the idea.
Correct. Absolutely right, sir. Uh, we have a recent question, which is it's kind of asking you exercises to improve digestive system in basic your digestion.
Yeah. So this is also, Bhavita, it's a nice question. Exercise for improving digestive system. Okay, so basically when we engage our aerobic muscles, or when we do any kind of aerobic exercise, so what happens? Our system burns all the whatever is available in our system is burned. Okay, usually I do not use this word that is called digestive system. So it starts burning. So whatever is available in our system, burning means what? Burning means it will start giving you an energy to do any kind of activity, right? So digestion will automatically it will be automatically enhanced if you do in any kind of aerobic workout. So it can also be pranayam, it can be running, it can be a number of things, right? So digestive system will automatically, this is what we call as a metabolic system, right? This is not basically a digestive system, metabolic system. So if your body's metabolic system is strong, then what will happen? You are able to burn more fat, you are able to digest better, and this is how it will work, right? So basically,
Absolutely.
we should focus on the workout procedure, correct workout procedure, not the incorrect ones. And then obviously we can take it forward in the next session, that is on 19th July, and understand it better. So once, as I mentioned earlier, also what I said, like you are taking n number of nutrients, right? And if your body is not able to digest it, so it is just wasted, right? So how to make it, how to utilize it at the max is by improving in your digestive system, right? Or by working on your this thing, metabolic, strong metabolic process, right?
Absolutely right, sir. Uh, I feel we are almost out of time.
Yeah.
Uh, so before I ask you the last question, which will be addressing to the
No,
audience.
one question I would like to take of Ritvik Saxena. He's asking, I'm actually following intermittent fasting.
Correct,
So
correct.
don't you think that most of the people, if we follow our diet or food plan properly, so we are already fasted every day, okay, isn't it? Don't you agree with this? Because see what happens when we have a meal like jam kind of meal version. So we have a meal before sunset, and next day we have a breakfast after 10 o'clock. So what is the window, the gap window of without any kind of intake is, it's around 5 to 5, that is 12 hours, and then 15 hours. So 15 hours
Correct.
gap is already there, so there is no need as such of intermittent fasting. And in between also, like when I do this every day, okay, and in between I run 20 kilometers, okay. So where does this energy comes? And I run fasted, I do not consume anything before going for a run. So from where this energy comes from, right? So this is very important to understand. So obviously my body is able to burn more of the fat, okay, and it is able to provide energy for that period of time. So I'm running at least 2 hours continuously. So this is how it works. So intermittent fasting, and this many terms are there which are actually coined, okay, but that actually we are doing in general, right?
True, true. We are following a lot of practices these days.
Yeah.
Before we jump to the last question, which is from our side for the audience, I would like the audience to know that again, we will be having a Try Series webinar, which is on the 18th, 19th, and 26th. 18th being entirely exclusive for food meditation, 19 being exclusively for dynamic meditation, and 26 for Ironman training, entirely from A to Z about what intake, about what food items, and how do you go through the whole routine. So, Mr. Praveen Kumar will be covering all the details which he couldn't cover in today's introductory webinar. Also, along with this, to subscribe to our social media handles and also on our YouTube channel. We will constantly be posting posters and information regarding all the details which our audience requires to follow us for more webinars henceforth. So, Mr. Praveen Kumar, I would like to ask you one last question, which is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
most
please.
important one. What would be your advice or what feedback would you try to tell the audience right now in this current COVID scenario where everyone is stuck at home and
Yeah.
fitness is out of the option at the moment? Diet plans are all over the place. What would you suggest and what would you tell them?
First of all, I would like to discuss about the current scenario, which we usually call as normal or new normal or something like that. Okay. So usually whatever is happening, it's normal only. Okay. So all the time it is normal. Okay. So something happens and people name it something new, right? So this is not the case. So this is not nothing new. Okay. And this lockdown will is going to happen very often, right? In at least in Mumbai, right? So what is the current correct thing to be done is to protect yourself. Okay, so that is very important. So how to protect, how to create a strong shield is important. Okay, so in order to create the strong shield, you need to figure out what kind of workout options you what you can follow, right? So that we discussed about in your dynamic meditation, right? So we have to understand what kind of workouts you can do in order to protect or strengthen your immunity, right? And what
Correct.
kind of food intake, that is also very important. What kind of food intake you should have, because even the food intake, if your system is laden with carbs intake, so immunity is already compromised, as we discussed earlier also. Like most of the cases wherein the people are diabetic, so they are more prone to this viral attacks and all, right? So I've been running isolated most of the time. Okay, so there are risk attached, but those risks need to be mitigated, understood properly. Okay, and then need to be mitigated, and accordingly action plan has to be made, right? So for example, if you are staying at home, so we can formulated some exercise pattern for you, right? For example, staircase climbing. Okay, we can have a staircase climbing challenge for you people, right? And then you can log in somewhere and you can understand how your body is improving, and how immunity, how it will help you to fight better with this corona. Not only corona, but n number of viral attacks, which is already, I told you just now, there are n number of millions of virus already there. Okay, okay, we are inhaling, right? But it is not affecting because our immunity is strong. Okay, so even I've seen
Absolutely.
one video wherein one doctor was claiming, like, this is the case of this viral attacks is impacting mostly to the people who are having high body fat, right? And who are not doing workouts very often. Okay, because their immunity is a little bit less. Okay, and that doctor, what he did, he injected coronavirus in his system. Okay, he injected, and he tried, he tried to experiment with his system. Okay, so
Okay.
after a few days, like, he was okay, he was fine. Means, yes, for a few days, like the virus impacted his system, it could, but finally, like, he recovered. So this is, I can share that video also. That was very
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm sure our viewers would like to see that video. Again, it's very controversial about the whole topic of coronavirus, and there are many theories which have come up. I would also like to take this a moment to tell our viewers that we have shared a promotional video about Ironman training, especially featuring Mr. Praveen Kumar and how he has trained for his previous Ironman. Do subscribe to our channel and do watch that video and give it likes. Um, Also, sir, I feel we have reached an end to this introductory webinar. We shall be wrapping it up. And any last words you would like to give to our audience?
So lastly, I would like to advise just a simple advice as a friend and as a well-wisher to all our audiences who has actually participated and gave us a valuable time and this opportunity to talk to them, right? So I've been associated with the cause that is called Move to Feed, right? So this is a kind of this is the time to collaborate more, okay, and this is the time to give our time and support each other, right? So
Correct.
just I would like to advise people, right? Like, you have to eat right first in order to protect yourself, and you have to exercise well, right? In order to protect yourself against coronavirus, right? So obviously you should not stop dreaming, and this is a normal. Okay, this is nothing called new normal. Okay, So this is means these are the steps which you have to take, and keep remain in touch and remain connected, and would like to see you on 18th, 19th, and 26th July again. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Bhagesh.
Thank you, Mr. Praveen Kumar, and we hope to see you soon. Like I said, we will be featuring a more detailed version of whatever we spoke about today, specifically on 18, 19, and 26. The details will be posted on your groups. That's a tri series webinar. And I bid adieu to our audience at the moment. Soon to meet you all again on the 18th, which is our first webinar about food meditation. Mr. Praveen Kumar will be going from A to Z about everything, and he will also be answering your personal doubts and also give you all a personal consultancy session. I hope to see you all soon, and this is your host, Bhagesh Anvekar.